Matt, you always talk about how you want to get offense off your defense. You did that a lot more in this game than you did the last game. That's probably something you wanted to see.
Yeah, we were able to break down some things that they did the last 2 or 3 days in practice. I thought we did a good job with it at times. Other times I thought we had some breakdowns that led to baskets for them, but I thought our guys in a couple stretches did a good job defensively of getting some steals and getting some easy baskets.
Matt, that sequence at the end of the first half was kind of what you've talked about, I think, with Kelsey's ability when he takes advantage of the skills that he has. And it was at both ends of the floor, a couple times with steals. That's what he has to bring for you this year, isn't it? For you guys to be where you want to be.
Yeah, he's somebody I think it's going to be an opportunistic type scorer for us. He's got to score in some different ways, but really his strengths lie with his athleticism and his ability to pursue the basketball. So, we need him to defend, the opponent's best perimeter player. We need him to get on the glass. We need him to get in passing lanes. Just use his God-given ability because he's got very good defensive instincts. And then offensively, just kind of pick his spots and, make good decisions. And we're really trying to get him to improve on his assist-turnover ratio because now he's in a position where he doesn't get guarded by point guards all the time. So from a quickness standpoint, he was quicker than some point guards, and he's at 6'6". Now when he's getting guarded by big guards or small forwards, I think that can really help us. But he still has to make good decisions. As a whole, we're not making good decisions right now. But we do have some lineups in there that aren't functional. So to their defense, it's sometimes we don't have the best lineups in there.
You, after the game against Northern, rebounding was one of the things that you talked extensively about. It was probably better today, but maybe not still where you want it to be, although Donnie Hale gave you, I think, 7 or 8 boards.
Yeah, I thought we did a little bit better job, but we got to get more people just pursuing the basketball and chasing long rebounds down, just being around the ball. And we've put a big emphasis on that, and we're not getting that from our team. I wish we could, point out 1 or 2 guys and it could improve and help us as a team. But just as a team, we got to do a better job, even though there was a slight improvement from the Northern State game.
Matt, when Southern Indiana made those couple of runs, what in particular were they doing? Was there anything particular that they were doing, or was it something that you guys were not doing, I guess?
Yeah. Well, I think anytime as a coach, you always look at it, you look at your team. So if you do something good on offense, you don't look at it as the other team breaking down. You look at your scoring, and then when somebody scores on you, you look at it, as your breakdown. I thought they had some good quickness at their guard spots, and so a couple times I thought they had an advantage with us. They did a good job of just breaking us down and making individual plays, but they gave us problems with their athleticism and their quickness.
Matt, going back to Kelsey's jump shooting, you said a couple times in the offseason last season maybe he got baited into shooting a couple times. The shots he made tonight, were those good shots for him?
Well, I think for him it has to be in rhythm. When he made the first one, I think it helped him make the second one, when in reality, that shouldn't be the case. You should be able to just take one shot and take the next shot no matter what happened before. But I think that helped him. He's done a better job in practice of, just kind of slowing down and taking that 15-foot pull-up. And he's been consistent there. I've tried to encourage him to take him later in the shot clock and just kind of probe the defense and move the basketball because ideally you'd like to get the ball at the rim more than we're getting right now, whether we post up or we drive the ball. But for him, it just comes down to decision making. When he takes his time and just takes what the defense gets him, he's going to have some open shots.
Coach, how far along is Tyrone physically? It looks like it took him kind of a while to get going and then kind of came on in the second half.
He's behind. There's no doubt about that. I think he's in a position now where it's difficult because he needs to get out there and practice to get his conditioning where it needs to be, and he needs to also rest to help him with his injury. So when he rests, it helps his injury but hurts his conditioning, and obviously vice versa. So just trying to kind of push through everything, and he's a guy that's not going to complain a lot or want to sit out a lot, so I think that helps him, but like I said, I think it also hurts him. We just got to try to do our best and kind of read him with it, but he really did a good job and got himself in a good position in August before, he had the meniscus surgery, and there's no doubt it's been a little bit of a setback for him.
Talk about what you're looking for from Kelsey from a leadership perspective, being one of the older guys now. What are you looking for him to do on the floor as a leader, off the floor as a leader?
Well, I think in terms of being on the floor, just leading by example, just trying to disrupt the other team's best player. I think defensively, he has to help us. And, right now, he's played about half the game. Tonight he plays less than half the game. He's going to play a lot of minutes for us, and he's got great stamina. I think I left guys in, about a handful of guys in too long, and then they make mistakes when they get tired. It does take a lot of energy to play the way we do. But, in terms of just, leading by example, he's got offensively, he's got to get a better assist-turnover ratio than he had last year, just making better decisions there. But, I think he's done a good job for us so far.
Matt, Sunday's reverse layup and dunk, is this the start of a new era for Purdue?
Well, he's he just has to keep it simple, to be honest. I know it was a nice, little move at the basket, but, if he just keeps it simple down there, he is a very talented young man. He's got a lot of strength, he's got a lot of athleticism, but he doesn't show it all the time. You only see that normally when he goes to get a rebound. If you ever watch him rebound in traffic, he goes above the rim and goes and gets it, and he sheds people. But then he doesn't use that strength all the time to post deep or to not let somebody else post deep. You saw him get the ball in the break, and you were shocked he could go that fast. So when you guys ask me questions, I've seen him do that before, and speed dribble on the break and go that fast, and that was pretty impressive. Even though he got caught, it was still pretty impressive for somebody 265 pounds. So he's talented. He just has to get out there and just continue to get a feel. He's going to play better when he's with Rob Hummel. I know that's safe to say about anybody on our team, but for him as a 5 and a 4, now you spread things out. It's easier for him to kind of know where others are and how to play, and then Rob helps him on both ends of the court. But I feel that way about all of our big guys. I said, well, he's a lot better with Rob than the next guy will play. I said, well, they all can't play, with him when you're getting shared minutes here. But in practice, they normally play better with him because he gets so much attention and he spreads. And then the way we've played, we've played offensively to Rob's strengths. Just like last year we played to E'Twaun and Jawan's strengths. We play to Rob's strengths, how we spread the floor and balance the floor. So when we work on those things, it's not necessarily towards those young guys' strengths. So when you see us struggle, we're not, we're not really polished when he's out of the game unless I put Bird there. If I put Bird there, then we're fine, because that's a lot what we did last year.
Time for one more. Matt, you saw the two of them again today. Any update or further decision on the two freshmen?
Just going to talk to both of them. Really don't have a set opinion at this time. If they both were gung-ho to do it, it would maybe be a difference. Right? I don't think either one of them wants to do it, but it's also the competitor in you. Nobody wants to do it, but now if you look back and you see the guys that have their extra year and you see what it meant to them, whether that's by injury or just a red shirt. You go through the players at Purdue that have sat out a year and had that 5th year. There's some pretty good guys. And some of the guys got their 5th year through prep school. And so if you list off Konzo Martin and Kenny Lowe and Brian Cardinal and Carl Landry and David Teague, when you get 23, 24 years old and you're playing against 18, 19-year-olds, it really helps you. But looking at it from an 18, 19-year-old perspective, you don't look at it that way. You look at it as that I want to play. So we'll sit down and talk with them and hopefully come to a decision, and maybe it's something where it's not a final decision. We kind of play through a couple more non-conference games before we actually do something. Obviously, we can't play them, but we would go through practices and go through a week, go through 2 weeks, and I was waiting for them to give me an answer. And I think when you kind of, stay right, do some good things, but then also had some struggles, and you kind of stay middle of the road, your answer didn't come to you.
We'll go to Mike in the back.
Matt, I just wanted to ask you one question about Rodney. You've had to go from being a college assistant to a college head coach, and obviously knowing Rodney so well. From your vantage point, how well has Rodney adjusted from being a college assistant to now running his own team?
Well, he's done a great job. Obviously, he came into a little different situation, at USI than I did at Southern Illinois. The one thing that I had an advantage of at Southern Illinois was I was familiar with our players. I'd coached them, and I was very, very familiar with their situation. Now, we lost a couple key players, and we still had a great year, but he wasn't familiar with his guys. And for him to have such a great season that first year, I think they won 22 or 23 straight in his first year, it was really unbelievable. And then last year they had a good year. But they have great tradition at Southern Indiana. And he's obviously done a great job and really cares for his players and has always, poured his heart and soul into his job. And so I think when you're that way and you're sincere, guys are going to play for you. Guys are going to play hard. And so it's fun. But he's just a great guy. And, I'm glad, he could come here and play. And I think it helped us. I think it helped them. And so just an overall good guy.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I know the comedy hour's over. I have to add one comment on Sandy. When I was at Southern Illinois as an assistant, I went to La Lumiere. I heard there was this big guy from Croatia there, and his name was Sandy. And when he walked in the door, he was like the nice Monstar and in Space Jam. And I saw this guy run, and he ran like a deer and thought, man, this guy's going to be really good someday. He's sure not going to be at Southern Illinois. And I'm really happy that Matt's coaching me. He is a Purdue Boilermaker. When I grew up in Central Illinois in a Big Ten country, and Rowinski and all the Purdue guys and Coach Katie's teams, and he is a Boilermaker. And I think this team is a Boilermaker. I think this is a Purdue team. And they play hard. They fight you. DJ Bird he is a Boilermaker. And then Robbie Hummel, I just thank Matt over and over for only playing him 16 minutes because it could have been a 100-point difference. It's so great to see that guy. He's everything that's right in college basketball. I know he's a great student. He's a great person. He's worked the game so hard, and he deserves every good thing that's going to happen to him, and a lot of good things are going to happen. I really liked our team. It was a great opportunity. I think Matt Painter and our friendship for giving us an opportunity to come here. And quite frankly, I'll be very honest about this. From the economic standpoint, the guarantee part it's a big deal for us. We came up this morning, ate at Applebee's. We kept it as economically. What's the word we're using now in Greece? Austeric, or we use austerity or whatever the word is, but this was a really good trip for us. I think there were more Purdue fans on our bus than USI fans, and so it was good for our community. It was good for our guys to play at this very high level against a very much an upper division Big Ten team. We had a bunch of young guys that really had to grow up fast. Taylor Wishmeyer had 10 points and 10 rebounds. He's a guy that came off the bench. He was about our 9th man last year. He's now a sophomore. We all know the sophomore year is the critical year. It's the one where you either soar or you kind of plane out, and he's really gotten off to a really good start, and we need his strength and scoring ability inside. Ram Lazem, young man that was at Morehead State last year, while he didn't production-wise on paper get a lot done, he got a lot done because he just needed to go out and play and enjoy the game. And then Lawrence Thomas, who had an ACL injury last year, kind of a similar story in his own respects to Robbie Hummel, to have a big game the way he played and play fearless and be able to score in multiple ways. What really impressed me about LT was that he was getting guarded by Lewis Jackson and the Johnson twins and everyone else seemingly, and then he was not only bringing the ball up the floor, but then trying to turn around and do it himself. So that was really a big day for him.
Coach, you obviously go way back with Matt. What's made him successful, you think?
Well, I got to know Matt. We worked together. Coach Weber was gracious enough to keep me on the staff at Southern Illinois, and he brought Matt from Eastern Illinois. Of course, Matt played here. For me, it's very simple. Matt is a basketball guy, and he thinks basketball all the time. And he's a good man. That's what makes him. That's why his guys play hard, because he knows it's not about him and his ego, like that's kind of clouded sports these days. Matt wants to have a great program and not just a great team. But Matt thinks, I can't tell you how many times that I'd be working with Matt as an assistant, and he was an assistant under Coach Weber, and he would be talking from the tense of, this is what it's like when you're getting heated up in the Big Ten against Steve Smith. And he wasn't trying to name drop or big time anybody. He coaches guys from the standpoint of what a player, he remembers what it's like to be a player. And you can tell that in the way he coaches. The other thing that Matt did that I try to carry on with what we're doing is he knew what your strengths are, and it didn't bother him. His thing is, if you're going to cheer for a made shot, then don't don't be mad for a missed shot if it's the same shot. And his players know he coaches that way. So he's a real players coach. He's a great worker. He has a terrific mind. He's terrific. And you guys are very fortunate. And I know you know that. Yes. I'm sorry, Dan?
Yeah, I was going. You said before this game that you said this would be something that would expose weaknesses. Go through the weaknesses that you saw that were exposed today by Purdue.
Well, what Purdue does is they bring the heat. That Coach Katie, it's kind of a lineage of Iba to Sutton to Katie to Weber to Painter, hopefully to Watson, and Lowry and the different people. But those things all come from Coach Katie, and the closeouts with the hands and the pressure on the ball and stopping layups. Gene Iba said in 1938 that the team that shoots the most layups and free throws normally wins the game. And it's the same way today. And I think while the defense has maybe changed a little bit and more pressure, certainly we've tried to carry that on. So we couldn't get the ball reversed, and we certainly didn't get hardly any free looks. Lawrence Thomas made some circus shots. He's 7 for 17, and I don't know if he had a clean one. Austin Davis had a couple of clean looks, and he got one in. But so that offensively, we have to get the ball reversed against pressure. We will not see that kind of pressure the rest of the year, obviously. The one area that we were worried about was rebounding. I thought our guys really fought hard. And then the big thing we talked about at halftime, I said, look, you guys are, we're all tired. I was sweating. They were all sweating. Everyone's sweating in that place. I go, look, the next 20 minutes can be the same. So we're going to find out whether we can really play for 40 minutes or just where our team is. And I thought we answered that bell pretty well.
Coach Watson, a few minutes ago you praised Sandy and Robbie and DJ on Purdue's team, specifically about DJ Bird. What is it that you really respect and admire about the way he plays? Well,
every sport, everyone talks about giving 100%, and he does. I told our guys, now look, this guy is the real McCoy when it comes to playing hard. When the ball's on the ground, he will dive on it. If you're not ready to go down, you may be getting knee surgery on Monday. And it's not because he's going to roll and kick you and take you out at second base. This guy he plays the game so hard. He gets everything, in my opinion, out of his ability. It surprised me how many threes he shot last year, 121, I think it was. And he's a skilled guy. But again, I think he comes back. He is the prototype Purdue guy, in that he plays hard. He has no ego. He goes and gets rebounds. He'll guard you like crazy. He's physical. He's tough. He's not. I mean, he's not cheap at all. It's what exactly I think every coach in camp's trying to teach, and he displays it. I think he's going to really make the difference for you guys.
Coach, a lot of guys that you have that are newcomers this year. Just talk about some of those guys and what you saw in them.
Well, they're all newcomers, and we don't have enough time. And I think that I think Ron Lazo, I mentioned him a little bit ago. He's very athletic. He's a guy that sat on the bench and played 13 games last year for a very good Morehead State team. Now he's got to realize that he can kind of cut loose offensively and look to score in ways. Just a couple more. The one guy that really didn't display what I know he's going to bring to our team is Melvin Little. He's a scorer. It was obvious. The snag with Melvin today was that he kind of he got disappointing. He was 0 for 6. He's got a scorer's mentality, and we just got to work through that. He's going to make shots. Then you just got to play both ends of the court. Keon Smith's the guy that transferred from Illinois State. That's such a hard worker and a tough kid and very fast. And I thought he just displayed great court awareness and really helped us. While we made 20 turnovers, hey man, those were forced. We had maybe a couple that we had a couple of forced shots that were turnover shots, but by and large, every turnover was earned. It's a real credit to Purdue and how hard they play. Yes.
One more thing. Talk about Austin Davis. I mean, especially the second half.
Austin Davis is kind of a tweener player. He's sort of forward guard, and we can kind of play him inside, outside in our league. If you can make open shots at the pace and how you're getting sped up. I told our guys, and I mean this with all respect to everyone in this room and to myself, I said there's going to be about, it's going to seem like 10,000 people. I don't know what's going to be there. And with myself and those other 10,000, we would love to be playing college basketball, but none of us ever have. And so until you're down there and really see how fast that Lewis Jackson comes at you or Anthony Johnson comes out to close out on you, you have no idea how short your window is with the attempt to get a shot off. And for Austin Davis to make some shots and to go to the rim and get some rebounds and to play the way he did on both ends, I thought that showed enormous courage, and I think we made a real good decision on recruiting him. I really appreciate the professionalism and the way this operation's run. It's not this way everywhere, and you guys know it, but I just want to let you know that how well we were treated here from start to finish, and it means a lot to us, and we really appreciate you in Southern Indiana. Thank you, guys. Anybody else? Thanks a bunch.